guys is going to be available October 1st of 2017. So if you guys want to go out there on October 1st, you can file the FAFSA using your 2016 information and have that done. Even if you haven't finished your college applications yet, you can still file the FAFSA in October, get that taken care of, and then once you finish your college applications and get admitted, colleges will process that for you. This means that you've got all the information you need. There's no excuses. You guys should all be able to go out there and file the FAFSA sometime early in your senior year, so make sure you do that. And use something called the IRS data retrieval tool if you can. It's embedded in the application. It transfers your tax data directly over from the IRS to the FAFSA. When it works, it's pretty slick, and it means you don't have to provide as much information to the financial aid office. So again, the FAFSA is the only application you have to complete to be considered for federal or state aid. It costs $0. It takes about 25 minutes on average to complete. Most every student does this online. I definitely recommend that you do that. If you file a FAFSA online, I will get your FAFSA results within about 2 days. If you file a paper FAFSA, it's going to take at least 3 weeks for that information to reach the school that you want to receive it. So you fill out one FAFSA, no matter how many colleges you're applying to. The FAFSA allows you to list up to 10 schools on your FAFSA at one time. So you just file one FAFSA, list all the schools on there that you want to apply to. They all get the information, and they will all respond with financial aid information. You have to apply each year if you want to be considered for federal aid. It's going to determine something called the expected family contribution. Just think of it as the FAFSA result, and that's what schools are going to use to determine aid that you're eligible for. Regardless of the EFC or your family's ability to pay for college, you're going to get something out of filling out the FAFSA. At the very least, every student gets access to federal student loans, and there is the possibility of a lot more, including grants and free money. So you definitely want to make sure that you take advantage of that if you're eligible. So some other FAFSA tips. When you sit down to fill out this application with your parents, you and one parent is going to need what's called an FSA ID, and that FSA ID is going to be used to sign your application electronically. So you need one of those to submit it online to get it to college campuses as fast as possible. You can create your FSA ID at any time, but you want to make sure that you create your FSA ID using your personal email, and then your parents need to create their own FSA ID using their personal email. They will send some emails to the individual with secure codes to verify your identity when you set up that process, so just make sure that you and your parent are using your personal email to set up your FSA ID. You will not be able to set up an FSA ID for both you and your parent using your same personal email. It just won't work. Okay? Like I said, you want to make this a family affair. You guys are going to be going off to college soon. You guys are going to miss dear old mom and dad when you go. Use this as some special time together, a little family bonding time. Do your FAFSA together. It's going to be a lot of fun. No? Not so much? All right. Well, you can do it separately if you want to. If you want to log in, do your part. Your parents can log in and do their part too. But a lot of times it goes smoothly. You guys just take care of it together. This is what the FAFSA looks like. Okay, you go to FAFSA.gov or FAFSA.gov. You can start a new FAFSA at any time just by clicking that button. Like I said, your FAFSA, the 2018-19 FAFSA, won't be available until October. I know you guys are all just super excited. You're jacked. You want to go out there and file a FAFSA today, right? You can't do it. I'm sorry. You got to wait until October. But hang on to that enthusiasm. What you can do today, if you want to, is create that FSA ID. You can create that at any time. So if you want to do that now or over the summer, then you'll have that ready to go when it comes time to fill out your FAFSA. So if you want to do that, just click on the lockbox at the top and create your FSA ID. You'll need school codes for each school that you are looking at. You can look that up as part of the application. But if you guys are visiting college campuses, some good questions to ask are, what is your federal school code? What is your FAFSA priority filing date? Some schools have specific dates that they would like to have your FAFSA results by. So those are two questions that you might want to ask so that you know how to include their school on your FAFSA and when you need to submit this information to them. I want talk too much about assets, but the FAFSA basically asks for your income information and then also assets. Parents get this confused sometimes, so make sure if your parent is helping you fill out the FAFSA, they should not list any retirement accounts or the value of their primary residence as an asset on the FAFSA. Basically, they should just be listing the value of any cash savings or checking that they have when you file, and then if they have other investments that are not in retirement accounts, they should include those. So, this is a little bit complicated, but I just wanted to show you guys what the EFC kind of is and how it affects your financial need. So the expected family contribution, like I said, is your FAFSA result. When you file the FAFSA, it'll just spit out a whole number, and then basically that expected family contribution is the amount that the federal government feels your family can pay for college education for 1 year. Your EFC can be as low as 0. It can be as high as over 100,000. And basically, this example shows an EFC of 10,000. Okay, so this is kind of typical middle to lower income family. They have an EFC of $10,000. That EFC is the same no matter which college you attend. So school 1 is like a community college, average cost about $12,000. School number 2 is maybe an in-state school. School number 3 is maybe a private college with a little bit more in terms of cost. No matter which college you're applying to, the federal government still thinks you can pay approximately the same amount. So what colleges do is they take their cost, or the cost of attendance, subtract out your EFC, and that gives them your financial need on that campus. And that's the number that they're going to use to determine other aid that they can provide to you. So the more expensive a college is, the more financial need you may have that could translate into other aid that's available to you from that school, which may bring their costs down more to what's in line with maybe another option that you're considering. But I recommend all students to give yourself options. It's a good idea to apply to both, maybe a private school, maybe some state schools, to see the differences in the types of aid that you're offered. Do you have a question?
Yeah, so do they give you money just for a year, or do they give it like the same amount each year?
You do have to fill out a FAFSA each year to continue to receive funding. If you qualify for a federal or a state grant, as long as your EFC stays about at the same level each year, you should qualify for that funding each year. If a school is offering you a scholarship or a grant, that's a great question to ask that school. Most schools will, any money that they offer you as an applicant, they will typically renew those funds for you each year for a certain period of time. Maybe 4 years, maybe beyond that. But you definitely want to know how you renew those funds. So sometimes you have to keep up a certain grade point average. Sometimes you have to be a full-time student to receive the funds. You want to know what is required of you to get that funding. So that's a great question to ask after you have a financial aid letter from the school. CSS profile, like I said, there's only a few colleges in Minnesota that require this: Gustavus, St. Olaf, Carleton, and McAllister. If you're applying to one of those colleges, they will let you know if the CSS profile is required. So make sure that you fill this out if a school requires it, but if you're applying to mostly state schools or other private schools that don't require this, there's no reason for you to fill out a CSS profile because it does cost something and you only need it for certain schools. These are different types of financial aid that you can be awarded. Scholarships are merit-based. Grants are need-based, so that's typically going to be based on your FAFSA. Work study is, of course, money that you have to earn during the year. And student loans are financial aid that needs to be repaid. There's also something called education tax credits, which is another type of financial aid, but you don't see that on an award letter. Education tax credits are money that you can claim on your taxes the following year after you've paid an educational expense. So most times parents are claiming these dollars on their taxes during your freshman year. If your parent doesn't work with an accountant, if they prepare their taxes themselves, they might just want to go out to irs.gov and read up on education tax credits so they don't miss out on some of these dollars. So when you apply to college and you get accepted, then you fill out a FAFSA, do other stuff the college tells you to do. They will provide you with an award letter that looks something like this. And when you get this award letter, that's when you want to ask those questions about all of these types of aid. You know, is the scholarship that you're offering me, is that renewable? How long is it renewable? What do I have to do to renew those funds? Federal or state grants will also be included on award letters if you're eligible. All of those things should fall under something called gift aid, and they should make it clear to you that those are monies. Gift aid does not have to be repaid, okay? It'll also outline for you federal or maybe some private student loans. Anything that says it's a loan, obviously that has to be repaid after graduation. So if you want to know about repayment terms or how that works, have that conversation with a financial aid counselor as well. And then it should also list for you work-study options, total up all of those, and you have roughly the amount of aid that's going to be applied to cost, and that helps you figure out what your remaining responsibility might be, and then you can talk to the school about other options for meeting any gap that exists after this financial aid is applied to your costs at the school. Really quickly, special circumstances. So you guys will file the FAFSA using 2016 tax information. However, sometimes parents become unemployed or they earn less money the following year, or they have medical expenses that aren't covered by insurance and they have to pay those out of pocket. So you will file your FAFSA using 2016 information. However, schools can update that information if your parents' income or household income has decreased in 2017. So you need to call the school, talk to the financial aid office, let them know that your parents made less money or you made less money in 2017. They'll collect documentation from you and they'll update your FAFSA for you. They might also be able to use 2018 estimated income information if that is less. So file your FAFSA using 2016, but if the income is less in future years, or your parents have become divorced, or something like that, we need to know about those sorts of changes in your household so we can make adjustments to the FAFSA that may qualify you for additional aid. Oh, bummer. I know you guys had a bunch more questions you wanted to ask.